No, it's on the break there when I was filling my coffee. My wife and I got into an argument about which vowel is the best one.
Wait,
Which
huh?
vowel?
Yeah,
Like A,
I
E, I, O,
won.
U, sometimes Y? I won. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ, Ryan.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that. I do.
Oh my God. That's just like
You
a
got
guy.
a lot of good alphabet based dad jokes. There you
Nice.
go.
Yeah, a guy at work who has a habit of sending me just random puns. He sent me an email on Tuesday. He's like, my wife's been on Facebook Marketplace for 12 days straight. If she's still there when I get home, I'm going to reduce the price.
Ouch. Oh, you guys know what ghost investigators wear?
No.
Paranormal pants.
Oh my God, dude.
Or
All right,
paranormal
Bert,
thoughts.
here's your cold opener for just us telling
Oh yeah,
shitty
just dad
jokes.
jokes. Just
Yeah.
stupid dad jokes. Love it. Love it.
100.
That's Ron.
And that's Ryan.
Over there's Bert.
And this is the 100 Albums Podcast, where we discuss the ins, the outs, and some absurdities of a poster that depicts 100 seemingly random albums. Hey guys,
Yo.
What's up, Bert?
what's going on? Yeah, what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. We're at album number 44 as we continue going through 100 albums that appear on a poster that our friend Drew got a couple of years ago from his wife Lisa. We first went through the whole poster by listening to each album and then shared our thoughts and reactions with each other via video chat. Once we were done, we thought it might be a fun project to turn into a podcast. So let's get into this week's album, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. But before we do, listeners, you can't see us, but Drew's not here again today. Unfortunately, he's not here for this recording. And I think, Ron, you've got some background on what.
I do. So listeners may not know this, but Drew, he owns quite a bit of property and like many acres. And one of his favorite things to do is just go walk through it because he's kind of a nature kind of guy. And as you all well know, the man barely wears a shirt, let alone pants. Thank God we can't see that on a weekly basis when we do these. But anyhow, so Drew was walking through his land au naturel, as it's his land. He can do what he wants. And he was spotted by some Bigfoot hunters who just mistook him as a Bigfoot. And unfortunately, he was netted and taken away to a research facility where we can only assume that these dim-witted investigators are testing him to see if he's a Bigfoot. And so we hope that they have the scientific equipment available to them to realize that this is our friend Drew and not the mythical Bigfoot. So we hope and pray that he's released and comes back to us in one piece without psychological damage.
It could turn out the other way. Honestly, it's been a long time since I looked at his feet. So I don't know if is he special ordering shoes this whole time and we don't know. I guess we're going to find out.
It's possible. It's very possible. So,
Well,
or maybe we've been podcasting with Bigfoot for
with Bigfoot.
years.
That's what I was just gonna say. I mean, who knows? You think you know a person?
I know,
He's been
right?
having a hard time lately, you know, because before with the hot air balloon, he was flying high in the friendly sky.
Great transition. All right. Hey, guys. We're talking about What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. What is the vibe check? What are your first impressions?
This is a great album.
This is an awesome album.
It's smooth. It's smooth.
It's revolutionary.
And unfortunately, it's still relevant today.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
know.
Later on, I've got that in my notes. It's like, oh my God. Was this recorded last year?
No
Last
shit.
week?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Revolutionary, just a fantastic record. But let's talk a little bit about background, shall we? Marvin Pence Gaye, Gay, no E, Jr., was born on April 2nd, 1939 in Washington, D.C. He later added the E to the end of his name. He was the second of 4 children born to Marvin Gaye Sr., a strict and often abusive Pentecostal minister, and Alberta Gaye, a nurturing and musically inclined mother. The household was deeply religious and disciplined, with Marvin's father enforcing rigid moral and behavioral codes, often through physical punishment. Marvin began singing in church at a very young age, where he developed his love for music and his honed vocal abilities. He joined his father's church choir and became known for his clear, powerful voice and emotional expression. Gospel music was his earliest influence, but he was also drawn to jazz, doo-wop, and classical music. He learned to play piano and drums, showing musical aptitude early on. Marvin Gaye had a difficult relationship with his father, who was emotionally and physically abusive, a source of lifelong psychological scars. As a teenager, he sought refuge in music and began performing with local vocal groups. He dropped out of high school and briefly enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, but was discharged due to disciplinary issues. After his discharge, Marvin Gaye returned to Washington, D.C. and immersed himself in music. In the late 1950s, he joined a doo-wop group called the Marquis, which was later discovered by Harvey Fuqua of the Moonglows. Fuqua took Marvin under his wing, brought him to Chicago, and gave him his first real taste of the professional musical world. By 1960, Marvin had moved to Detroit with Fuqua, when he later began working closely with Berry Gordy, founder of Motown Records. Marvin signed to Motown's Tamla label in 1961, initially working behind the scenes. Tamla is also, this could be another poster secret of the poster. Tamla is Stevie Wonder's label, right? He played drums on several Motown hits, including Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes and Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandellas. He was a drummer for those songs. I think that's really cool. Marvin inspired to be a jazz crooner in the style of Nat King Cole or Frank Sinatra, and his early solo work reflected this ambition. His first album, The Soulful Moods of Marvin Gaye, in 1961, was a mix of jazz standards and pop ballads, though not very commercially successful. His breakout came when he embraced a more soulful sound with the 1962 single Stubborn Kind of Fellow. A self-penned track that became a hit. He had major success in the 1960s with duet partners like Tammi Terrell, Ain't No Mountain High Enough.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
And You're All I Need to Get By.
Like sweet morning dew, I took one look at you, and it was plain to see you were my destiny.
With arms open wide.
So this album specifically is his 11th studio album. What's Going On was released on May 21st, 1971 on Motown Records. He produced the entire album himself, and it's a concept told from the perspective of a Vietnam War veteran returning home to a country full of injustice, suffering, and unrest. Marvin Gaye fought Motown's Berry Gordy for creative freedom, marking a departure from the label's formulaic pop sound. Influenced by Marvin Gaye's grief over the death of his duet partner, Tammi Terrell, his brother Frankie's accounts of Vietnam, and all of the social turmoil of the late 1960s in the United States. The album, many songs were co-written with Ronaldo Obi Benson of the Four Tops and Al Cleveland. Initially, the album was rejected by Motown for being too political and uncommercial. However, Marvin Gaye refused to record anything else until this was released, and so they relented and released the album.
Which is interesting, I'm sure, because you guys all went on, everyone had to have read stuff about that, right? I find it interesting that there are some takes where Gordy was like, I never disagreed with that. I thought this was going to be good the whole time. I just didn't think America was ready.
Hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was reading up on this in my Major Labels book by Khalifa Sanaa. And he said that, he told Gordy that he wanted to make a protest album. Gordy did not agree. He asked, Protest about what? The term protest album suggests fiery assertion, but Gaye's version was wispy, even dreamy. Its title, What's Going On, had an invisible but audible question mark, and its languid compositions flowed together into one long song. Gaye's political program was compelling, though vague. Opposed to war, unemployment, pollution, and despair, in favor of God and love, notably ambivalent about drugs.
Which I had no idea. And the little bit of research I did for this one, I didn't know he had a problem until I started looking at things, and I was like, oh, okay. And unfortunately, it tinges how you look at some things. And so, like, I went back and watched live footage, and then you kind of take into account, different actions and things, and looking at him as a person, much more complex than I ever would have imagined outside of him being shot.
Yeah, I mean, this is also, in a way, this album allows the public to see more of that personality, right? Because we're moving away from that quick, clean cut, shirt and tie or sweater vest look, and now he's more of an everyman,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a lot more human on this album than a lot of other ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Legacy. Needless to say, I think everybody knows this album became a massive commercial hit. It was also critically acclaimed. It's widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time by critics and musicians alike. It marked a transformation in soul and R&B toward a more socially conscious and introspective themes being explored. It inspired generations of artists to use music as a form of protest and expression. It signaled Motown's evolution from a hit-making machine to a platform for artistry and commentary. It frequently appears at the top of greatest albums lists. And the themes of police brutality, war, poverty, environmentalism remain deeply relevant today. So where does this fit into Marvin Gaye's career? It is his highest charting. I'm sorry. It is his. It on the Billboard 200 charts. It's actually number 4, which kind of surprised me. Midnight Love is number 5. It peaked at number 7 on the Billboard 200 chart. What's Going On peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200 chart in 1971. I Want You peaked at number 4. Marvin Gaye Live at the London Palladium peaked at number 3, and Let's Get It On is his highest charting album. That peaked at number 2 on the 200 chart. On the Billboard Hot 100 from this album, What's Going On spent 15 weeks on the chart and peaked at number 2. Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, spent 12 weeks on the chart and peaked at number 4. And Inner City Blues, Make Me Wanna Holler, spent 9 weeks and peaked at number 9. This album, in terms of album sales, is his 3rd highest selling album, which again kind of surprised me. Number 5 is Marvin Gaye's Greatest Hits, dun, 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 dun. 1 million albums. The Very Best of Marvin Gaye is number 4 at just over 1 million albums. What's Going On is number 3 at 1.8 million. Every Great Motown Hit, 2.5 million. And Midnight Love from 1982 at 3.2 million records.
So through this whole experience, we need to look at artists whose has the most greatest hits packages as their top selling albums. And I want to see the artist that's like one great album and then 4 greatest hits, or that one artist where all 5 are just greatest hits fucking albums.
Yeah. So in terms of legacy, What's Going On was ranked number 6 on Rolling Stone magazine's 2003 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. It was one of 3 Marvin Gaye albums to be included on that list. Let's Get It On came in at number 165, and Here My Dear came in at number 462. This album is Gaye's highest ranking entry on the list, as well as several other publications' lists. In the revised 2020 version, this time voted on by musicians instead of critics, the album moved up to the number 1 spot, replacing the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So this album on the 2020 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time is the greatest album of all time, as voted on by musicians. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted Marvin Gaye in 1987, declaring that he, quote, made a huge contribution to soul music in general and the Motown sound in particular. In 1988, Marvin Gaye was inducted posthumously into the NAACP Hall of Fame, and in 2003, What's Going On was chosen by the Library of Congress to be added to the National Recording Registry. So that was a lot.
Yeah, but it's all important, you know.
It's all super important. So other stuff that I missed that you guys saw when you were doing your research?
I did. I read a really interesting article from Sound on Sound, actually from July of 2011, that does kind of a deep dive on the title track, What's Going On. It was written by Richard Buskin, if anyone wants to look that one up. That song was actually written by Obie Benson from the Four Tops. And he, saw like a protest going south, and, that's where all the picket line stuff and Don't Push Me with Brutality lyrics come in. But he was kind of, well, I guess shouldn't say he was. I think the band, the Four Tops, notably knew this was not maybe a song for them.
But can you imagine the Four Tops singing this?
No.
I can. And I think, I know it's not their style, but like I did the little matchup in my head. I could see them doing a respectable version, but Marvin is actually the one that needs to.
I think more that that would mess up their formula of success. So
absolutely.
That was not what they did. But he did offer it to other people that would be appropriate to, including Joan Baez, which I thought would be really interesting if she would have taken that song on. But she did not. And eventually he basically forced it on Marvin Gaye, from what I read. Went to his house and said, no, this has got to be your song. And I think Marvin Gaye actually got writing credits on the song retroactively because he did some tweaks to it. So it's like a 50-50, even though it was pretty much all written by Obie Benson. So I thought that was kind of interesting. The orchestrator, Dave Van de Pitt, who did all of the arrangements for this. This is pretty interesting. Maybe you guys read this, but he stated that the bassist, Jamerson, always kept a bottle of Mataka, so some kind of Greek liquor, in his bass case. He could really put that stuff away and then sit down and still be able to play. His tolerance was incredible. It took a hell of a lot to get him smashed. Well, smashed Jamerson apparently was when he arrived at Studio A after Gaye had located him playing in a local club and asked him to drop by once his set was over. Too drunk and tired to sit upright in a chair, he lay down on the floor and, after taking a look at Van Pitt's chord charts, played the chromatic, syncopated, constantly changing bass line that still captivates legions of admirers.
That's insane.
Oh, fuck off. For real?
That's insane.
Yes.
Oh.
When you listen to the bass track on What's Going On, Jamerson is literally laying on the floor playing that.
Drunk off his ass. Correct. I love it. That is so rock and roll.
The other note about production is apparently there was copious amounts of marijuana usage during the making of this album.
I mean, I feel that.
Yeah,
right.
right.
In the music, right? Because I can sense that laid back kind of vibe.
Laid back.
Even though there's some heavy topics being discussed, certainly in the lyrics, but
I think you kind of need the weed for the heavy topics.
Yeah,
though.
Right. Seriously.
I mean, there's some heavy shit on here
to help cope.
The other general note I learned that I didn't know was that shortly after this album, Sly and the Family Stone came out with an album that is, the title is supposed to be in direct answer to this, because his album is called What's Going On, and Sly's album is called There's a Riot Going On. So,
Okay.
and I don't know. I guess I never realized that that was intentionally titled as a response.
Yeah, I did not know
Oh,
that
that's
either.
cool.
I did not know that either. Well, hey, maybe take a quick break to hear from this week's sponsor, eh?
Hey,
Word.
So, hey, this is another example of returning sponsors.
Oh,
This is
nice.
a pretty cool notion here that we've got sponsors who continue to come back to reap the benefits of the audience that we are growing here at the 100 Albums podcast. Guys, Fanny's back.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm super excited to share the advertisement that Fanny has sent over to us.
Now that the weather is cooling down a bit, OnlyFans is here to help. Heat things up in your household or at your place of business. As you look toward the colder months, the last thing that you want is to have the chills. Brr. At OnlyFans, we have an entire line of products that are meant to keep you nice and toasty all through the fall and winter months. Are you into feet? I mean, keeping your feet warm? Check out our dynamic floor heat distribution system. It's a great way to move warm air around the floor so that those handsome toes of yours don't get chilly. No? Not for you? Maybe you want to be tickled by the feeling of warm air drying your body after a shower? Then look into OnlyFans' patented body dryer, which leverages our proprietary heat dispersal technology. Whatever you're into for heating things up, OnlyFans is the place for you. OnlyFans is the only shop in town that sells only fans. Our proprietor and only employee, Fanny, will take great care to make sure that you leave with only the perfect fan for your needs and the wind at your back. Stop by our showroom just off Route 65 in Branson, right next to Parakeet Pete's waterfront zipline, and tell Fanny what you need. Come on down to OnlyFans, where the only thing that is blowing is the air.
Oh, man.
The soundtrack is awesome. It just interjects at the perfect points. Oh,
Oh, man. I feel like a lot of times you have to, call in and pay by the minute for that kind of advertisement. Right? Oh, that's
Well,
rich.
thank you.
Thanks,
you
Fanny.
Again. Thank you again, Fanny. Thank you, OnlyFans.
Oh, that's rich.
oh.
Okay, well, after that, let's talk a little bit about some more Marvin Gaye, shall we? Good, bad, ugly time, guys. On the re-listen of this album, what strikes you? What's good? What's bad? And what is ugly?
Everything's good. I mean, even if I don't think it's, my favorite song, it's just good. And musically, topically, like it never had occurred to me until now that it was a concept album. And then once I learned that, I started looking at it as, the story that it is. So there's a lot going on here. One of the cool things, once again, in the little bit that I read up on, the dual lead vocals is a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Ryan, I'm sure you know the story, but the one I loosely remember was that he recorded it, and then when they mixed it, that it was an accident that both were put on. Like, do you remember the details on that one?
Well, I think they wanted him to opine over which one he liked better, and they accidentally put them both in the faders. And he's like, no, I like that. I like them at the same time.
Okay.
There's a couple of interesting little mistakes on this album that are kept on purpose. The opening sax lick on What's Going On, the sax player thought he was just kind of noodling and warming up over like a practice track. And he's I think the quote was something like, oh, I was just goofing off. And Marvin Gaye said, well, I find your goofing to be poetically insightful or something like that. So they kept it on the album.
That's awesome. When stuff happens organically like that, that's really cool. Huh. Well, I kind of share Ron's, sentiment here. The whole album, the album as a whole is really, really good. I was largely familiar with the two more popular songs, right? What's Going On and Mercy, Mercy Me. But I already knew based on those two songs rather, that there was some social commentary happening, right? Because I mean, the whole album is social commentary, but those two in particular being the popular ones or whatever, I knew that was kind of coming. So I wasn't surprised when the rest of the album had that kind of vibe to it as well. I think what I was surprised about in the initial listen was that the whole thing is really social commentary. There are not songs on there that are opining lost love or anything like that. It's all kind of what's going on, right? And I don't want to bleed into my hot take, but just lots of good. I didn't really pick up really on any bad, save for the idea that if you're not in the mood to hear about social commentary, it might be a bit of a bummer. If you're really listening to the lyrics, it's going to be like, ugh, man, I need a pick me up or something. But the irony is that at the same time, the music that underpins the social commentary is really good music. And so it's this weird dichotomy where you're talking about these heavy subjects, but the music is really still kind of fun and good and all that stuff. So,
I mean, other than the title track, which was sold as a single in a way, and you can hear it when you're listening to the album. But after that, the whole first side, from What's Happening, Brother, all the way to Mercy Me, I love that it just transitions song to song. Yeah. There's no breaks.
Yeah, there's no breaks. Yeah.
It takes you through. And I think we've listened to it so much at our house. I mean, when he gets to the Save the Babies. Liz and I we're singing it out. We're like, save the babies. I know all the little tiny moments because it's a ride. You can't really stop it. Once you start that, you're going to listen to the whole thing, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some really interesting foreshadowing, I think, on this album to other soul stuff that happens after, especially like on side 2. I feel like that opening groove in Right On. You can hear a lot of back and forth, maybe influence, because I think it was simultaneous with like Curtis Mayfield. I don't know. Do you guys get any of that almost like soundtrack?
Yes.
Vibe.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like you could throw this on the Superfly soundtrack and it would fit.
Yeah, exactly. Bad for me, I will say there's nothing bad here. Please, listeners, don't come at. But side 1 and side 2 are not equal to me. Yes. I feel like side 2 is still good, but it does not have the driving focus of side 1. Maybe that's partly because some of the songs are just longer, so that it's hard to say, but and it's not just because the 2 hits are on the first side. But.
Yeah. So what's really funny about that, Ryan, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know this is one of your. Haven't you said before that side 1 of this album is one of the best sides of any album ever, or something?
And I do want to talk about that, but not yet. But go on.
Okay. Well, the reason I say that is I think if I'm looking at the track listing. What's Going On, What's Happening, Brother, I think as a side, it's better. But my favorite song on the album is Inner City Blues.
Shots.
So it's kind of funny,
Straight
like
up.
as an individual song, that's my favorite. But as a side one is better. So just kind of an interesting kind of play there.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that. Inner City Blues, like I have a notebook years ago. I couldn't match up with a band, and I really wanted to get playing. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to, do a one-man band kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Inner City Blues is in that book of songs I know. And that is, oh my God. Like, once again, unfortunately, it is so fucking relevant today.
Inflation, no chance to increase finance. Bills pile up, sky high. Send that boy off to die.
And I find it amazing that, what are we looking at, 50 years later? How sad that song is still relevant.
Yeah. And Bert, you mentioned that. I'll go ahead and say it, because this is kind of, people who know me already know this, because I say it way too many times. In fact, the kind of joke in our family, which sort of starts with my father-in-law, he has an obsession with carnitas. And for a while, every time we would talk about going to Mexican restaurants, he's like, well, I'll get the carnitas because everywhere you go has them, and they're always different. They're always good. But he said that every time. It's to the point where when he would start it, we started finishing. He's like, oh, do I say that a lot?
That's funny.
And that's how I feel I am probably characterized when talking about this album, because I always say that this is one of the best first sides ever created. And I would go so far as to say I think maybe this may be the best single side of any record.
So is that just because of the programming, like the songs that they put together as that side one?
Yeah,
coupled with the quality of said songs. Is that, how do you qualify that?
I mean, it's a combination. Yeah, not only is it's the messaging, the programming, the music itself, and I think the fact that it stands out so hard to me is I really can't imagine putting on one of those songs.
Yeah.
Like my brain would explode.
Interesting.
No, I gotta hear the whole side. You know what I mean? Like if you were to put on What's Going On, I need to hear What's Happening, Brother immediately after. I gotta complete the whole circle.
Interesting. Okay.
In fact, Didn't this get labeled as a song cycle? Or did I read that? No one else read that.
I didn't see that.
Anyway, I don't think it needs Western European credentials to make it better. So I don't really care.
Any other good, bad, ugly?
I love the talk about ecology, and saving the planet. That is something for me personally. No matter what is going on in the world, I think we need to save that. And I appreciate it because I don't think you hear a lot about that in popular music, looking at that kind of stuff. So I really appreciated that. I'm not a religious person, and I can appreciate the feeling behind it of we need to do this. And once again, looking at his background, it makes sense why it's there. It doesn't hit that hard for me, but it's kind of like his heart's in the right place and I can get behind what he's saying. But man, it's just so powerful. Like and the music is just so fucking good. Like the sounds themselves, looking at the Motown's house, which is basically what it is, I find it amazing that you look at it and it looks like, a nice suburban house. But some of the most amazing music in history came out of a place that you're like, you mean that house over on whatever the address is? Like there? You take the Hitsville sign off of it and it's just a fucking house. And I want to go there one day real bad.
The musicians that contributed to this should not be understated either. Because it's so cool. I think this is the second time, but really the only first official time that the Funk Brothers were actually credited as the Funk Brothers on the album notes, which of course includes our now, hopefully you'll never forget the story of Jamerson. So, but he didn't use all of them. He had his own drummer that he preferred. I guess that same article I read about recording this, the drummer from the Funk Brothers was too heavy-handed, like too loud, and they couldn't get it to like be feeling the groove.
So the Funk Brothers is to Motown.
That's
what
what
the
I was just
Wrecking
gonna
Crew
say. Yeah.
is to other ones.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tracking that correct? Okay.
Except that they liked being called the Funk Brothers. I think the Wrecking Crew,
They did.
They don't like it. Yeah. But I mean, come on, it's the Funk Brothers. That's fucking standout name.
yeah,
What's not to like, right?
yeah.
Okay, results and ratings time. Ron, where are you with this album?
And I don't own it, but I need to. I've got other Marvin, so I'm putting this like 8.5. I mean, it's up there.
So that's really interesting because me, Drew, and Ryan all gave it a 9.
Wow.
So like we're all right in line, which made this album, What's Going On, number 8 out of 100 albums. So it's cracked the top 10. So second chance then, Ryan, would you change your score from a 9?
I don't think so. I
mean, side one alone.
I play it all the time. I think it's so good. His singing is so amazing on this. Every groove, every little nuance. Yeah, no, 9 all the way, buddy.
Nice. I'll have to ask Drew what he thinks, but I'm going to leave him at a 9. So just as a reminder, I'm tracking all of our upgraded evaluations, our redo evaluations now, including Ron's, so that when we go to do the bracket at the end of the season, we'll have a more clear picture of kind of where each album stands. So, okay, well, it's that time, guys. Let's go to Margaritaville. If Marvin Gaye had a restaurant or a chain of restaurants, a la Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, based on this album, what would it be called, and what would the theme be?
Nice. I got 3 this week.
Nice. I got 2.
Ron?
3.
I will say it was a little bit difficult for me to come up with puns based on the subject matter of these songs. I felt kind of bad, like, should I be making fun of this? Okay, no, I got past it, but so. Ryan, you want to go first?
Well, I've got a French soul fusion concept called Merci, Merci Moi.
Nice.
I like that. That's good.
And then I've got a chain of fast food restaurants that serve burgers, while advertising would feature chickens telling you to eat more beef, and they're open on Sunday, and it's called Save the Chicken.
That's funny.
And then
Did you say they're only open on Sundays?
yeah, because there's another restaurant.
I know, because the other one's not. I get it. I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
And then I've got one called What's Going On, and it's a pizza joint. When you order it, you're only posed with one question in regards to toppings, and they go, "What's going on?" And you answer with "What's going on your pizza."
Ryan.
Yeah,
Same
It
brain.
scares me that I had the exact fucking restaurant.
Which
Title, What's Going On? Title, concept, everything. You bastard.
You guys are cute.
All right.
What else you got, Ron?
I got a donut shop called Holy Holy.
Or a bagel shop, maybe? Yeah.
Exactly. I also have a barbecue place because I think anymore, thematically, we have to have a barbecue place. Mine is called Mercy Mercy Meat.
Okay. Mercy meat. I like that. Okay, I've got 2. One is a Spanish cuisine restaurant called What's Going Flan.
Nice.
Spanish. It's funny. Flan, I think, is actually a French word, but it's like big in Mexican cuisine. Anyway, and then the other one I've got is it's a kind of a downtown gastropub kind of place called Inner City Brews. Parenthetical, make me want to swaller.
Wow.
So the marquee is really long.
Yeah,
it's got a parenthetical. So anyway, make me want to swaller. Yeah, that's good.
I will never. Every time I hear that song now,
there you go.
I'm just gonna sing along. Make me want to swaller.
Okay, so wrapping it up, guys. Closing thoughts, additional takes, or shit we forgot.
I got a hot take, and I know I've talked about it a lot through this episode as far as how relevant this is, but I truly believe this album, Steve Earle's The Revolution Starts Now, we need a resurgence of albums like this. Whether you agree with what's going on in the world or not, we need these albums to come back out to kind of just reinforce that we need to be better human beings, and we need to not just lay down. So not to go, way too down the political rabbit hole, but these are important albums, and they're high on everyone's list for reasons. And I think we need them now just as much as we needed them back then.
No, I agree with you so much. And I think we started this episode by saying it, but it is really, it pains me that, he's passed. He's probably like, man, I bet that all got wrapped up.
Yeah.
I'm glad I put out that album so we could address it and move on. Sorry, Marvin, we let you down, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got two takes. The first is one that's rather simple and kind of more of a question, but is Marvin Gaye obsessed with long hair? Did you guys notice that he bookends the album with the lyric? Well, so in What's Going On, he says, "Oh, but who are they to judge us simply because our hair is long?" And in Inner City Blues, he says, "Who are they to judge us simply because we wear our hair long?"
I never caught that.
That jumped out at me for some reason. I'm like, and his hair, at least in the album art, isn't that long. But I think it's more of a kind of protest song, whatever you want to call it. So my more real take is the question mark, the absent question mark. I think that it's not a question. He was posing it as a statement, like, here's what's going on. And he's talking about people dying. He's talking about war. He's talking about injustice. He's talking about these issues. And it's a statement of saying, here's what's going on and we need to fix it, kind of to Ron's point just a moment ago. So back to what you were saying about the Sly and the Family Stone record, Ryan, about how theirs was kind of an answer to this. I appreciate that, and I love Sly and the Family Stone, but I don't think he was asking a question. I think it was more of a statement from my reading and listening to the lyrics. So,
isn't that what makes it great art? Is it can be both?
Does, yes, indeed.
Thanks, Marvin.
Yes, thanks, Marvin. All right, time to bring it on home, guys. Listeners, please now go and listen to What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. And let us know what you think. You can let us know at 100albums at bertislo.com. That's 100albums at bertislo.com. You can connect with us on Instagram or Facebook at 100albums podcast, or visit our website at 100albumspodcast.com. What's up next week, guys? Holy shit. We've referenced the Beatles how many times in discussing these first 44 albums? And
45 episodes.
That's right. And now we're actually going to get to talk about a fucking Beatles record.
Which one, dude?
We're going to be talking about their classic 1969 album, Abbey Road. So please do join us next week for that. That's going to be a banger of an episode. And until then, thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Later.
See ya.
Local vocal. That would be actually a great name for an artist. Local vocal. Just saying. Matt, are you listening? So side note, and this we don't have to put this in. I can take this out if you want. But Ron, you're a fan of like Grammatic and stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's a song that Grammatic does that is basically a huge sample of Inner City Blues.
Really?
That I hadn't realized until I kind of listened to them independently. I'll have to remember.
I'd be curious to see and hear that.
Hang on 1 second. Hold, please.
Yeah. I kind of want to go to a fish fry place now called Cod is Love.
Doing these in the morning, like I'm normally not a breakfast eater, but after we do these, I'm kind of like, shit,
always a
now
little
I'm
bit
hungry.
Always a little bit hungry.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
so here you go. Ready? I'm going to share my screen right quick. Share sound, share. So anyway, thought that was, as I was going through the album this week and listening, I was like, oh, wow, that's fucking awesome.